Welcome back to WION World is One. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Heem Kaur Saroya, and here's a look at what we've lined up for you on Speed News today. US President-elect Donald Trump has announced that he is arranging a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, stating that he wants to meet him. This development comes as Trump's upcoming inauguration on the 20th of January has sparked hopes for a diplomatic solution to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. According to reports, there are concerns in Kyiv that a swift peace deal could compromise Ukraine's interests and require significant concessions. Trump's advisors have proposed ending the war by effectively ceding parts of Ukraine to Russia, raising uncertainty about the future of the $175 billion aid to Ukraine. The US Supreme Court rejected President-elect Donald Trump's last-minute appeal to delay his sentencing in the New York hush money case. The decision clears the way for Trump to face judgment in a New York courtroom. The Supreme Court's 5-4 decision found that Trump's concerns about presidential immunity could be addressed through the appeals process. Trump says he respects the decision and plans to go on an appeal. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has extended an invitation to talk to US President-elect Donald Trump following his remarks about potentially taking control over Greenland. Convening an emergency meeting with party leaders, including representatives from Greenland, to address the issue, the president said that she does not believe that Trump will try to seize Greenland by force. Frederiksen emphasized Denmark's openness to discussing US interests in the Arctic while maintaining that Greenland belongs to Greenlanders. Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Corina Machado was briefly detained by security forces on Thursday after emerging from months of hiding to lead a protest in Caracas. Defiantly promising after her release that her country will be free, the dissident leader appeared from among a throng of thousands of opposition supporters in the capital, climbing atop a pickup truck amid a massive police deployment. Machado's detention sparked widespread condemnation from several governments and her allies who demanded her immediate release. The incident occurred amid opposition demonstrations across the country protesting President Nicolas Maduro's third inauguration. Chilean President Gabriel Boric has called for international action to restore democracy in Venezuela, labeling Nicolas Maduro's government a dictatorship. Boric emphasized the need for collective efforts to re-establish democracy and the rule of law in Venezuela. His latest stance comes after earlier expressing doubts about the legitimacy of Maduro's election victory. He was speaking at an event in the city of Concepcion on the eve of Nicolas Maduro's inauguration. A devastating plane crash occurred in the coastal town of Abatuba in Sao Paulo, Brazil, when a small plane carrying 5 people exploded after overshooting the runway and crashing onto the beach. According to authorities, the pilot was killed in the crash while a couple and 2 children were miraculously pulled out from the wreckage alive and rushed to the hospital for medical treatment. The airport operator reported that poor weather conditions and a wet runway in the area likely contributed to the accident. An investigation into the cause of the crash is currently underway. South Korea's presidential security chief Park Chung-joon says there must be no bloodshed as investigators prepare to execute another arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Yoon has refused questioning and resisted arrest last week after his failed martial law bid, sparking a political crisis. The situation remains volatile, with several hundred of Yoon's supporters gathered outside the presidential residence, braving sub-zero temperatures to defend him. A new arrest warrant was secured this week after the initial 7-day order expired. Meanwhile, South Korean police questioned the chief of Presidential Security Service on Friday as the two agencies clashed over attempts to detain impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. In the latest attack on Jewish places of worship in a synagogue in Sydney was dubbed with anti-Semitic graffiti. The vandalism, which included hateful symbols and slurs, was discovered on the walls of the synagogue in the early hours of the morning. New South Wales Police have deployed a special task force to investigate the incident at the southern Sydney synagogue, which is being treated as a hate crime. The incident is the latest in a series of anti-Semitic incidents in Australia in the last year, which included multiple incidents of graffiti on buildings and cars in Sydney, as well as an arson attack on a synagogue in Melbourne that the police have ruled as terrorism. The Gaza-based health ministry has said that the Palestinian death toll from ongoing Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip has risen significantly, with more than 46,000 reported deaths and over 109,300 injuries. The past 24 hours have seen at least 70 people killed and 104 injured. According to reports, Israeli airstrikes on multiple locations across Gaza have led to dozens of casualties, including attacks on a school in Jabalia and another in central Gaza, which killed 4 people, including 3 children. Additionally, the Israel Defense Forces reportedly set dozens of homes ablaze in northern Gaza on Thursday, igniting widespread fires across several areas. The Israeli military says it intercepted 3 drones approaching from the east, including 2 believed to have been launched from Yemen. 2 of the drones were intercepted over the Mediterranean Sea. The latest attack comes as tensions in the region escalate between Israel and Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. Yemen's Houthi rebels, who control the capital city of Sana'a, have been launching missiles and drones towards Israel since the war broke out in Gaza in October 2023. The Houthis describe these attacks as acts of solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. The United Nations Security Council has welcomed the election of Joseph Aoun as Lebanon's new president, marking the end of a presidential vacancy that lasted over 2 years. Secretary General Antonio Guterres congratulated Aoun, calling his election a critical step towards overcoming Lebanon's political and institutional impasse. The Council emphasized the importance of the election, highlighting its role in restoring stability and addressing the country's urgent needs. It also reaffirmed its strong support for Lebanon's territorial integrity, national sovereignty, and political independence. A devastating wildfire crisis continues to grip LA, with 2 massive fires menacing the city from the east and west. A brief respite from fierce winds on Thursday allowed crews to slow the explosive spread of the flames. The Palisades fire and the Eaton fire have already ranked as the most destructive in LA history. According to officials, the Eaton fire has destroyed 4,000 to 5,000 structures and has forced thousands to flee. LA County Sheriff Robert Luna has implemented a curfew and has requested National Guard support to combat looting. The Palisades and Eaton fires have ravaged LA's communities, consuming 31,000 acres, killing at least 5 people and displacing nearly 180,000 residents. Officials say thousands of homes and businesses have been incarcerated and over 200,000 people have been warned to evacuate. A cold snap is bringing heavy snow to eastern and western northern Japan, particularly along the Sea of Japan. The Japan Met Agency has warned that snowfall will continue through Sunday in the mountainous areas of western Japan, including Kyushu and Shikoku. The cold snap has brought strong winds and low temperatures to the region, with temperatures in some areas dropping below -10 degrees Celsius. The Japan Met Agency has warned of possible power outages and disruptions to daily life due to the severe weather conditions. Dense fog engulfed parts of the Indian capital, causing massive disruptions in transportation. More than 150 flights have been delayed and at least 26 trains have been delayed due to reduced visibility. The fog has brought down visibility to zero in many areas, including Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, making it challenging for commuters and transport systems. Vehicles of Friday morning were seen crawling in parts of Delhi NCR due to poor visibility, with most drivers switching on their hazard lights to ensure they were visible to other drivers and prevent accidents. The India Met Department has issued an orange alert for Delhi, warning of very dense fog. Amidst the blazing wildfires devastating LA, TikTok has asked its employees to work remotely or use personal and sick leave if unable to do work from home. Over 45 square miles have burnt, displacing nearly 1,800,000 people and causing widespread power outages. TikTok's LA office in Culver City remains closed due to high winds and outages, with smoke visible from its windows. Despite the chaos, employees are required to log in from home even as some face evacuation orders or lack power and Wi-Fi. The company has offered access to mental health resources but insists missed work days must come out of personal or sick leave. This decision has sparked concerns as staff cope with the ongoing crisis. Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church and sovereign of the Vatican City State, has issued a warning about the dangers of misinformation spread through social media and AI. Speaking at the Vatican, he said that such tools could be misused to manipulate minds for political, economic and ideological purposes. Pope emphasized the need for media literacy education to deal with this threat. He also criticized cancel culture and the reinterpretation of human rights, particularly the right to life. His warning comes just days after Meta, Facebook's parent company, announced that it would end third-party fact-checking in the United States. A new study by Germany's University of Lübeck shows that AI has significantly improved breast cancer detection. The research involved over 4,600,000 women and 119 radiologists. AI-assisted screenings detected cancer in 6.7 per 1,000 cases. It is a 17.6% improvement compared to traditional methods. The study also found that AI reduced radiologists' workload, cutting reading times by 43% without compromising accuracy. Researchers say AI helps identify suspicious cases early and reduces missed detections. Humanoid robots took center stage in CES 2025 in Las Vegas, with companies showcasing innovative designs. California-based Infot presented Nilo, a robot with a snarky personality designed for human-robot interaction. Bordeaux-based Pollen Robotics unveiled Ricci 2, a customizable platform for AI research and development. Robots at the event demonstrated lifelike behaviors, including body language and micro-expressions, highlighting the growing role of robotics in personal and professional spaces. CES 2025 runs from January 7th to 10th, highlighting the latest innovations in AI and technology. The dollar looked set to extend its longest weekly winning streak in over a year on Friday. This currency is underpinned by rising bond yields and expectations of another strong set of US jobs numbers. The dollar added more than 1% on an ailing British pound, which was better to a 14-month low in tandem with a market sell-off and concerns over finances. The dollar index is set for a sixth consecutive weekly gain, its longest run since an 11-week streak in 2023. This comes as the US economy continued to seem strong in contrast with weakness elsewhere. Japan's households cut consumption for a fourth month as inflation continues to weigh on their purchasing power. This depicts an economic fragility that's likely to keep the Bank of Japan cautious about additional rate hikes. Consumer spending has been on a downtrend for months as shoppers cope with inflation. The biggest wage growth in years is yet to change the tide as inflation continues to outpace a boost in paychecks. In November, Japanese workers' base salaries grew the most in more than 3 decades, but real wages fell for a fourth consecutive month. The BOJ is set to wrap up its next policy decision on the 24th of January meeting. China's central bank said it will suspend buying government bonds. This is the latest attempt to temper investor bets on weak economic growth that has undermined the currency. The People's Bank of China will suspend purchases of sovereign debt this month as the supply of bonds has fallen short of demand. Market conditions will dictate the time taken by the central bank to resume buying. This comes as benchmark bond yields slump to an all-time low. Investors have turned to bonds amid a prolonged property crisis, weak consumption and concerns over deflation.